When you think about staying healthy, your mind probably jumps straight to doctors and hospitals, right? But there's this huge, kind of invisible network out there, working around the clock to keep all of us safe. We're talking about everyone from your local sanitation crew to the folks responding to global pandemics. So today, we're going to peel back the layers on this incredible system.
So, what really keeps a whole community healthy? I mean, it's way more than just fixing people up when they get sick. It's all about playing defense, proactive defense. We're talking about a massive system built to stop illness before it even gets a chance to start. And to get it, we've got to look at the problems they're designed to fight.
Okay, so before we can really appreciate the heroes of this story, we first got to understand the villains, right? These organizations, they didn't just pop up out of nowhere. Nope. They were created specifically to fight the most common and dangerous health threats we face as a species. And this really gets to the heart of the matter. You see, while the specific diseases might change depending on where you are in the world, the kinds of problems are pretty much universal. Public health work is all about tackling these big core challenges. So let's break down a couple of the major ones. All right, check this out. We've got two classic public health enemies here. On one side, you have waterborne diseases. We're talking nasty stuff like typhoid that spreads through dirty water. And on the other side, insect-borne diseases. The ones carried by mosquitoes and flies that just love unclean places. But here's the key thing. Both of these are often totally preventable if you have the right systems in place. And that brings us to our first line of defense. So where does this battle actually start? Well, it starts right in your own backyard, literally. The very first line of defense is always local. These are the folks in our towns and cities who are on the ground handling public health day in and day out. So these local health bodies, think of your city's municipal corporation. They basically stand on four main pillars. First up, sanitation. Getting rid of garbage and sewage so flies and mosquitoes don't have a place to breed. Second, safe drinking water. Super important. Third is vaccinations. Getting the community immunized against diseases like polio and measles. And fourth, this is one you might not expect, keeping records. Yep, they track births, deaths, and diseases. Why? Because that data is absolutely critical for spotting an outbreak before it explodes into a full-blown epidemic. Okay, so the local teams are the foundation. They're essential. But some health problems are just too big for a single city to tackle on its own. And that's when we have to zoom out a bit to the national level. This is where the big countrywide strategies get made. See, every country kind of has its own most wanted list of health threats, and national institutes are the ones tasked with going after them, head on. In a country like India, for example, the big focus is on major challenges like malaria, tuberculosis, and dengue. So these national bodies, they're the ones doing the research, tracking outbreaks, and drawing up the massive battle plans needed to protect millions of people. And here's a fantastic example of what that national-level action looks like in real life. The Pulse Polio campaign in India. This was just a massive, coordinated push to completely eradicate polio. I mean, that kind of nationwide effort is something only a national organization can pull off. It's just an incredible example of what can happen when a whole country rallies its resources behind one single health mission. Now, a really key player in a national strategy like this is an institution like the NICD in Delhi. Their whole reason for being is to research and really understand serious infectious diseases. They provide the brainpower, the knowledge that's needed to build effective public health policies for the entire country. But what happens when a health crisis just doesn't care about borders? We've all seen it happen, right? A virus can hop on a plane and be on the other side of the world in a matter of days. For those kinds of truly global challenges, well, you need global-scale organizations. And when you look at the global stage, there are two absolute titans, the Red Cross and the World Health Organization, or as we all know it, the WHO. Now, they both share the same ultimate goal, protecting everyone's health, but they tackle it in very different and actually very complementary ways. Okay, so think of the Red Cross as the emergency first responders, the boots on the ground. When a disaster hits, a flood, an earthquake, you name it, they are right there, in the thick of it, providing direct help. They're the ones supplying blood, giving first aid, running ambulances. It's all about immediate, hands-on relief. And get this, they've been doing this for a long time. They were founded way back in 1864. That means they have well over a century and a half of experience on the front lines of pretty much every major humanitarian crisis you can think of. Now, if the Red Cross are the medics on the ground, the WHO is more like the global command center, the strategist. They aren't typically the ones providing first aid directly. Instead, they're tracking epidemics worldwide, they're funding and supporting research projects, sharing the latest info on vaccines, recommending things like quarantine measures, and setting the standards for medicines that everyone follows. Basically, they write the global playbook on how to stay healthy. The WHO is a bit of a newer kid on the block, established in 1948. It was created as a special part of the United Nations. Right after World War II, there was this big idea that if the world was going to be secure, countries had to work together on health. And so the WHO was born. So let's just boil this all down, right? The Red Cross, they're all about direct, on-the-ground emergency action. The WHO, they're about the big picture, strategy, research, and data. The simplest way to think about it is this. The Red Cross is the medic on the battlefield, and the WHO is the general back in the command center. And you absolutely need both to win the war. So we've looked at the local guys, the national teams, and the global giants. But the real magic, the secret sauce, is how they all connect and work together. It's not three separate things. It's one single, cohesive system designed to keep all of us safe. So just picture it like a multi-layered shield protecting us. Your first layer, the local one, handles the immediate stuff, day-to-day things like sanitation. The next layer up, the national one, coordinates the big battles against major diseases across the country. And that outer layer, the international one, that provides the global strategy and sends in the cavalry when a crisis gets too big for any one country to handle alone. Every single layer is crucial. Take one away and the whole shield gets weaker. I mean, this system has saved an unimaginable number of lives. It's incredible. But the world is always changing, right? We've got new challenges popping up, like the health effects of climate change and brand new viruses we've never seen before. And that leaves us with a really big question to chew on. How does this amazing, intricate shield of ours need to change? How does it need to evolve to protect us from the unknown health threats that are just over the horizon? That's definitely something to think about.